Starting off at number one, what you absolutely love about living in St. Pete is that it's a small town feel. With historical neighborhoods like the Old Northeast and very old historic buildings, you will feel like you're kind of stepping back in time. Also, one of the things that I think that make up a small town is having owners serve you at restaurants. We have several restaurants in St. Pete that have been around for almost 100 years, and the owners are there serving you. So you just know when the owners are at the restaurants, you're gonna get the best service possible. And I feel like between the historic neighborhoods and the historic buildings and having such a close-knit community, you have the elements that actually make up a small town. Since St. Pete is surrounded by water and green space, it's so beautiful and refreshing. So just to go for a walk, you are surrounded by such powerful elements. And I believe that the space forces you to take a step back and really contemplate what matters most in life. Between the buildings and the historic neighborhoods, plus the environment, I believe that that makes St. Pete a small and laid-back town, and that's one of the reasons why you're gonna absolutely love living here. Coming in at number two, the downtown. The downtown is vibrant and growing. There are two parts of downtown. There's Central Avenue and there's Beach Drive. So let's talk about Central Avenue first. So Central Avenue is where you're gonna have the majority of the restaurants, shops, and bars. So there's a lot more quantity on Central Avenue. So it's a very light, bright, and very welcoming downtown. It's unlike a lot of other downtowns where it's like dirty and messy and homeless. You're not gonna really find that on Central Avenue. Yes, when you go outside Central Avenue, there are some designated areas where the homeless do hang out. But I have to say that the police in the city of St. Pete do a phenomenal job. I've lived in multiple different huge cities in the country, and St. Pete does a very good job keeping it under wraps. So let's talk about Beach Drive. Beach Drive is where you're gonna find all your condos, the museums, the soccer stadium, and the fifth largest pier, recreational pier in the country. So 90% of your condos are downtown. They start around 500 and go multi-million. So if you got like 10 million to spend, you can find what you're looking for here. But all seriousness, what I think is super unique to the Beach Drive area, it's actually a part of the Waterfront Park Foundation, that you can have high-end luxury and still be in a laid-back environment. So a lot of my luxury clients love the idea that you can buy a multi-million dollar, you don't have to buy a 10 million, or you can buy one or two or three, up to $10 million condo and still get that luxury lifestyle, but you have that laid backness that you are not gonna get in places like Tampa or Miami. So St. Pete's super unique to that because you can still have that luxury lifestyle and still be in a very laid back atmosphere, which a lot of my luxury clients do. So regardless if you're looking for a $500,000 condo or a multi-million dollar condo, this is where you're going to find your main options. Yes, there are some other options throughout the city, but for the majority of the options, they are downtown on this Beach Drive area. So continuing on with Beach Drive, it's not just filled with condos, so don't get that wrong. There's a ton of parks down there, which we'll get to soon, but you also have the majority of your museums here. The museums here are fantastic. We have the Dolly Museum. We have the James Museum. We have a Museum of Modern History down there. So it is such an amazing vibe down there, and you incorporate the water and all the green spaces, and it's a super special place. Last thing about Beach Drive is where you're gonna find your more fine dining restaurants. I'd say it's more of a quality aspect when we're talking about dining. Some of my favorite restaurants are on Beach Drive, and these are my top 3 favorite restaurants on Beach Drive. So let's talk about number 3, because we're talking a little bit about the park system. Voted number 1 in all of Florida for its investments in the park system, St. Pete has world-class parks, recreations for all ages, which is why I love it here. Among the several pools and indoor basketball, pickleball, we have outdoor gyms, tennis courts, karate, dance classes. They are all held in these rec centers. So St. Pete has the 3rd largest waterfront park system in the country. You know how I was talking about the waterfront park system, kind of on Beach Drive? Well, this is what I was talking about. So there's over 100 acres of protected waterfront land that was donated by some families back in the day that create this waterfront park system. So there's an outdoor gym there, there's tennis there, there's dog parks there. There's even an outdoor beach volleyball court that you can go and play at. There's some experience courts, and then there's some rookie courts. I think there's like 8 courts. So there's a lot of courts to go to, and majority of the time only like 4 of them are held by like real hardcore pros. And they're so inviting, I swear. The people out there are so inviting. They want you to participate. They'll give you tips. It's just a really, really cool place. It has a sidewalk there, so you can walk your dogs there and run there, a part of the waterfront park. So the park system is also a meeting place for like festivals. Honestly, it's like the heart of St. Pete. So you go there, you just walk around. It's very aesthetically pleasing. So outside the waterfront park system, there are so many park and rec facilities that it's really hard to count. So 75% of all people that live in St. Pete in Pinellas County live within a 10-minute walk of a park. So besides the waterfront park here are my favorite parks to go to. If we're talking about St. Pete, then we're talking about waterfront communities. Coming in at number 4 is waterfront communities. I love waterfront communities because I grew up in the Keys and always had good boating access. St. Pete has several waterfront communities that all have incredible access to the Gulf of Mexico. So whether you're going on a boat just to go on for a ride, or going to one of the sandbars, or you want to go have some world-class fishing, or maybe you just want to go wakeboarding, those options are available to you. So unlike other places in the United States or Florida that it takes you forever to get out the channel, in St. Pete, you will get out of the channel in 5 minutes. You will be most likely out of a wake zone in 10 minutes, maybe 15 tops. So all of the canals are deep water canals and mostly can take 30+ foot boats. So that's always a plus when you're buying a multi-million-dollar house. You want to have the option of not being limited on the size boat that you bought. I know that clients that I sell waterfront property to, they want to make sure that they can fit a 40, 50, 60 foot, possible Viking or a small mini yacht in their house. So St. Pete is generally not the place for that. I do have other locations for that if that's something that's up your alley. I have properties that are along the beach over around Terra Verde, which we can get to a little later. My favorite boating communities are these right here. All right, so number 5. So I pride myself on being able to get around efficiently. Obviously, I'm a master of efficiency. I pride myself at being efficient. So you'll never really have to get on the highway here living in St. Pete. You're basically 5, tops 10 minutes away from everything, and you really don't have to go on a highway to get there. You go on a street or an avenue. So we're talking Whole Foods, Target, Fresh Market, Trader Joe's, all within 5 to 10 minutes of where you live in St. Pete. And if you remember this, that will save you a lot of time. Streets go east and west, and avenues go north and south. If you see an address that has an N in it, then you're north of Central. If you see an address that has an S in it, you're south of Central. I know that sounds, kind of elementary, but I promise you it took me forever to kind of figure that out for some reason. But St. Pete is extremely easy to get around. And unless I go to the beach, which is about 15 minutes away from my house, or Tampa to go to a hockey game or grab some phenomenal food, because Tampa has such a good food scene, then I never get on the highway. And both are about 20 minutes away from me. And if I leave at a non-peak time, I could probably get there in, let's say, less than 15. So because you live in Florida, you don't want to live on the interstate. And if you don't want to live on the interstate, then St. Pete is going to be a great fit for you. And I think that's one of the reasons why you'll love living here. Coming in at number 6, this is for people who don't know anything about living in St. Petersburg, Florida. I know the majority of the country probably know about Central Florida and the temperature here, but for 8 months out of the year, we have some of the most phenomenal weather. So while the rest of the country is freezing, we're living in shorts and t-shirt. It's March 1st, and I was just at the park at my friend's 1-year-old's birthday party. It's actually been the most beautiful weather we've had in the last couple of days. And I think we've really passed those random, cold fronts that we had. And for the next 2 or 3 months, it is going to be heaven in St. Pete. So for that one reason, St. Pete gets beautiful weather. We get a lot of rain during the winter or during the summer. And we do get pockets of cold fronts, but for the majority of the time, the weather here is some of the best weather in Florida. And that's one of the reasons why I think you'll love living in St. Pete. All right, so let's talk about dogs and pet friendlies. If you're not a dog person or you're not really into pets, then this really means nothing to you. But for people that are and that are searching for a place in the country, the United States, that love dogs, you search no more. St. Pete was voted #1 time and time again by WalletHub. And of course, we all follow WalletHub, right? No, I don't really know if WalletHub is really a reliable source when we're talking about finding places that are pet friendly, but I will tell you that I can give you some facts on why we are the most dog friendly city in the country. So we have a dog bar, and me and my wife are not the biggest drinkers, but we do like to go out and socialize our dog. And Dog Bar is a really great place because the people that own Dog Bar, they walk around with like little spray bottles of water. And if your dog gets like a little excited or something, they'll spray them. Most of the parents there are like super aware and they're paying attention. They're not sitting there getting bombed, and not paying attention to their dog. It's super friendly. I mean, this is not a pitch for Dog Bar. I'm not like being sponsored by Dog Bar here, but I've never seen a dog bar in the country or in the world. I've been around the world. I've never seen that. So it's an incredible place. They have tons of drinks there you can go to. But the other thing is we have like a splash pad place that you could bring your dog to on Central Avenue. That's really cool. And we also have a huge amount of doggy daycare industry here. I used to take my Charlie there all the time and needed him to socialize. But for those reasons, it is one of the #1 dog-friendly cities. And if you love dogs, you're going to absolutely love St. Pete. This is a little bit of a surprise that I wasn't sure if I was going to tell you, but it's one of my most favorite places. And if I'm trying to make sure that you love St. Pete, we have one of the most beautiful dog beaches in the entire world. I've been to the most dog beaches in all of Florida. I love beaches. I'm a beach guy, but I love to see my dog play with other dogs in water, and I love to get my dog exhausted. And what I'm about to tell you is like the best dog beach in all of Florida. It's called Fort DeSoto Park, but there's a dog beach in Fort DeSoto Park. And you are going to be absolutely in love with this place. I wouldn't go there on the weekends, but if you have to go there on the weekends, I'd get there early. The line is crazy, but generally we go like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday because I can really sneak out for some self-care for a couple hours. We usually grab like a Publix sub. So if you're not from Florida, you gotta grab yourself a Publix sub. We call them pub subs here. They're freshly made subs. You go there and you tell them what a sub is, tell them what ingredients you want on it. And it's just absolutely delicious. It costs like $9. And you can fill it up like crazy. Anyway, so yeah, Dog Beach, super dog friendly city to live. And if you love dogs, looking for a place that other people love dogs too, you're gonna love living in St. Pete. So coming in at number 8, best beaches in the world. I said it because living in Florida, I've been to pretty much every beach in Florida. So some of my favorite moments as a child, we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. And I truly believe because of the sensories when you're a child and you're on the beach, I believe that you're just opened up to so many more, awareness because of the water, because of the birds, because of the sun, because of the sand. I believe that you really get like activated faster and develop faster as a child if you are spending more time at an ocean. I mean, that's just me. I said it. So some of my favorite moments are on the water when I'm having a hard day or some incredible crap happens because we're humans, right? We have really bad things that happen to us. I mean, I know I have, I've had deaths in my family. I've had moments in my family I didn't think I could make it. And just being able to go to a beach and just take a step back and see what truly matters is really, really special. And the cool thing about the beaches here in St. Pete is there's tons of parking. And if you have enough money for a sub, bring a water and parking, you can get away with having a full day at the beach for less than $10 for as many people as possible. I mean, if you can make a bunch of sandwiches for, $6 or $7 and you have $5 for parking, you buy a couple gallons of water, you and your whole family have some of the best memories that you could possibly make for under $20. And for that specific reason, I believe that you are going to absolutely love living in St. Pete. So coming in at number 9 is low crime. So crime is a sore subject to everyone out in the world. I don't really see too many people talking about crime. And I know why. It's because the National Association of Realtors really prohibits you from talking too much about steering people to certain neighborhoods. So it's like if you connect crime with certain neighborhoods, then you're kind of steering them. So I'm not going to do that here, but what I'm going to tell you is we're going to hop to my computer real quick. I'm going to pop up a crime map and I'm going to show you exactly where crime happens for the majority of crime, that violent crime. We're talking about violent crime here. We're not talking about kids that are bored and go in your car and, take change out of your... That's everywhere. That happens no matter where you are. But we're talking about the violent crime, the crime that you're trying to really stay away from. And that only happens in certain areas in St. Pete. I mean, we're talking about the majority of these. Of course, there's impulse crime that happens, but the majority of crime does happen in a specific area of St. Pete. So we're gonna pop over to my desktop right now and I'm gonna give you a website and we're gonna just spend a few minutes talking about the crime here. And for those reasons, I think you're gonna really enjoy living in St. Pete. Coming in at number 10, things to do. So there are so many things to do. I've mentioned a few of them in this video already, but the farmers markets, the soccer games, the baseball games, the quick drive to Tampa to watch a hockey game or a football game, the swimming pools to museums, the access to the theaters. Like for instance, I took my wife to the Mahaffey Theater this Christmas to watch a play. And I love being able to not have to fly to New York to watch a Broadway play. I can go to Tampa or just literally 10 minutes away from my house to watch a play. And for those reasons, I believe St. Pete offers a lot that you get in big cities, but you know, that comes with living in a big city. And I tell you what, like one of my favorite things to do is to go watch a professional soccer game at 𝐓𝐿 Stadium down at that waterfront park district. It's just a really family-friendly environment. The fans are really cool. There's like a fan section and they're all playing drums and doing those soccer cheers and stuff like that. It's directly downtown. It's one of the most like simple, like cool things that you can possibly do. And you can get away with it, you know, probably for like $100 for 3 people, maybe a little cheaper. I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, I make a great living outside of YouTube. I built a credible business. You can tell my personality. I love being in people's lives, even if it's just for a short period of time. YouTube is not easy. Finding editors is like a pain in the ass. But I started YouTube because I hear horror stories of people relocating here that moved to high flood risk areas, and you know they weren't told by their agent. So that was kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to start YouTube. Google me. My name is Matthew Baldwin. And I pride myself on being incredibly knowledgeable about neighborhoods and insurance and like finding a good home with elevation, which has become incredibly valuable since the past 2 hurricanes. And regardless of what you guys heard about like the past 2 hurricanes, there was damage, like catastrophic damage, but the areas that had catastrophic damage were already known areas to have high probability of catastrophicness, right? I hope that makes sense. So there was not really a surprise. I mean, there was a surprise because it did venture out a little bit outside these like well-known areas. But for the majority of the damage was caused, we're talking about waterfront properties that are on ground level, and we're talking about areas that were already high at risk. So it wasn't much of a surprise to Floridians, because if you're a Floridian, a true Floridian, you should know that you shouldn't live in a high risk flood zone. And there 90% of St. Pete is in a non-risk, non-high flood risk zones. So if you have a realtor like myself who's being very honest with you, then you should have no issue. You should have a lovely life in St. Petersburg, Florida, like the rest of us. So if you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the other side of a closing table. See you on the next video. And I think you're actually going to really enjoy this next video. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon.